I was waiting to see if the biggest announcement of 2025 already came out. And I think it did. It was the non-farm payroll. This is the announcement back in the currency trading days. This is like the only thing you trade. It was the most volatile day of the month, the non-farm payroll. I think it came out, and I think it was slightly bullish. Now, my spidey senses told me when I woke up and I saw the almost V-shaped recovery, call it that. I was like, oh, this looks like it's kind of a non-farm payroll front run. Or maybe the insiders, because there's always insiders. There's always insiders that know everything. Maybe they were the ones that found out. But we basically hit all our metrics yesterday that we talked about, unfortunately, when we were doing the little bearish breakdown. 104, 103, 101, and 100. Did we get to 100? What did we get to? 100.4. So we did it, and then we are having a slight run up. Now I think that is, correct me if I'm wrong, if it's not come out, usually it comes out in the morning either at 8:30 or 8:30 Eastern, which it would have come out already, and I'm assuming it's maybe slightly bullish, and that's why we have this little bit of a nice V-shaped recovery. Now we're not back up into our channel of resistance, channel of eternal monotony's resistance yet. That would be like min recovery bullishness up here at 105.6. So really it's like 105 is the new metric of zero. At 105 is the next level of maybe we get up and over into new, bigger and more bullish numbers. That would actually put us into our channel of ascension, our bearish channel of ascension. Keep that in mind. This little red one, signified by red, is a bearish channel of ascension. We need to be out of it. We need to be back up here into this old channel of ascension, which is green. That would take us to today, let's say about a 108. Now at 108, everyone puts on their bullish chapeau and we start making the parades and the floats and everything. We're going to all-time highs or price discovery. Until we're in there, everyone's really basically in the doldrums, debating to themselves at night. Like that meme where the wife is wondering what's going through his head. And then the man's actually thinking, is the bull market over? That would be about the most truish meme I've ever seen when it comes to what women think men are thinking and what actually men are thinking. Is the bull run over? Are we going back into a crypto winter? You know, he's facing the other way. Now, the good news about the crypto winter really is if we were on actual market 4-year signals, which we basically kind of are, until some people argue that we had an early start, so we'll have maybe a truncated finish. I don't know. I think it plays out the way it plays out. Usually we'll know if the cycle is broken if there is no Q4 top, right? Then we'll know, we really had a left-leaning truncated bull run that started with the all-time high before the halving and then just carried on as normal. Until that, we'll have to assume that Q4 will be the next all-time high and then into the crypto winter. But here's the thing about the crypto winter. I was looking at it yesterday because it was almost like the good times were the crypto winter. I know that sounds weird, but I felt like the sentiment in Bitcoiners' joie de vivre was more optimistic when we were in the crypto bear market. When we were down at, let's not say the 15K was a little bit more of a, we didn't have much joie de vivre. But when we started to come up again, that's when everyone was a lot more excited than they even are now, at all-time highs. So I'm almost, in a weird way, looking forward to the bottom of the next cycle, which historically, is around a year after that all-time high in November or October or what have you, whatever it is. And to think about it now, like the way the speed at which a year goes by, it's crazy. Time goes by so fast now. And so to actually watch the price go down, let's say it goes down 60%, which the argument for it not going down is pretty solid. You know, they will say these massive institutions are not speculators. They're not coming in, you know, from advice from the taxi driver saying, yeah, you know, you get in at the bull market and then you sell at the top. Yeah, it's easy. You just sell at the top and you wait and then you get back in. That type of investor is retail. Retail's throwing darts at the top. Oh, now's the top, now's the top, now's the top, now's the top. Getting wrecked, you know, 80% of the time. The new investor, do you want to call it more sophisticated? I wouldn't really say more sophisticated. I would say more long-term. They're investors. They're holding. They're holding not for a couple years, not for 5 years, but probably 10 to 20 years. So the sell pressure that we will get in Q4, in November, in December, I don't think will be coming from these institutions. Now we see outflows, which are pretty substantial, actually, if you really think about it. But it's really the retail psychology that has precipitated all these blow-off tops and bottoms. That being said, 1 year after, it will be 2026, maybe October or what do they call November? October and Bullvember? Now, what is that? Come on, has it been that long? I've already forgot. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. That is the time where, arguably for me, it's the most exciting. You know, it's therein lies the more opportunity than possibly your life has ever had. Because I remember down at 15K, you know, how long ago was that? Let's take a look at it. Down at 15K. Down at 15K. Do you know what song I'm ripping that off from? That's right, Fraggle Rock. Down a Fraggle Rock. Down a Fraggle Rock. So we were down here. This was November 22. Oh my God. That's almost 3 years ago. That's crazy. Almost, it doesn't feel like 3 years ago, doesn't it? It doesn't feel like we've been slowly legging up. If anything that I remember from this bull market, if anything, was last year's summer, epic summer bummer right here. This is like one of those sitcom shows where it's at the end of the season and the writers are maybe on strike and they're like, well, let's just do a retrospective. You know, we'll do this is what this stream's turning into. So 3 years ago, let's call it, 2.5. Okay, 2.5 years, we are at the bottom. Arguably the most opportune time of anyone's life when it comes to Bitcoin. Now, one might argue way before that one was at $1, sure. But the vast majority of the stomach of retail were not early whales. Most came in maybe 2017, 18, definitely 2020, 2021 is dance your cares away. That's right. And so they experienced one cycle essentially. And then when it went up to 70, maybe they bought at the top, because usually your first trip, you're a bottom selling top buyer, just classic, right? And then you watch it go all the way down. But when it came to 15K, that was the opportunity of a lifetime. When you think about it now, Bitcoin, $15,000. It seems like insanity, doesn't it? It's like, there's no way it was 15K. Yeah. Well, 2.5 years ago, it was $15,000. Now, will we see something like that ever again? It depends, because let's just play out some scenarios here while I'm spitballing this retrospective. episode. Let's just say 112 was the top. And we saw diminishing return, you know, so instead of seeing 75, let's say we just went like, 80, 70, 60, and we saw a 60%. Forgetting everything I said about the sophisticated investor of the ETFs and whatnot. Let's just say we saw a 60%. All of 2026, we went down 60%. Where would that take us? Down to Fraggle Rock. Down to Fraggle Rock. What the hell's going on here? Let's make this smaller so this works. 60% drawdown from 112. 44K. That'd be pretty wild. You know, like as we got back, as if Scotty Moe watches this today, like we go back into the 60s. Do you remember we were just, that was last year's summer bummer, stuck in the 60s. It's like, when am I going to be able to stop saying Siggity? Siggity 8K, Siggity 1K, Siggity 1.5. We'd go back into the 60s and then the 50s. And then at the 40s, let's just say we went to the 40s, everyone would be calling for 20. Just what happens. It's always everyone halves the worst case scenario. But at 44K, maybe not as exciting as 15K, but that's attainable to, is it attainable? I don't think so, actually. Because you know what, when I have conversations with some, I wouldn't call them high net worth, like traditionally high net worth people, but they're definitely wealthy people. They don't have 100K. Well, in Canada, it's 150 or something like that. I'm not sure. They don't have 150K sitting in the old TD savings account. They got to move shit around to buy a Bitcoin. So even at 40K, you would have to be $40,000 complete liquid in the old TD savings and trust, unless you're going to move shit around, right? My actual point here is that save this summer bummer, which was arguably a dark time. Remember, we had the August Japan carry trade. This is when I cut scene. It's a hard thing to do because they're all one step away. You never really play notes up a scale that are one whole step. Well, that isn't right. But that's where they get that sound from. It's like it breaks the math of music. Nothing moves in complete whole tones all the way up. Doesn't make sense, right? There's no melody in there. Could you do a melody? No. People call that jazz, I suppose. Anyway, what the hell was I talking about? Right, the retrospective. Welcome to the Crypto TA and Music Theory channel. Yeah. If we've all heard that, right? This is the last point I'll make on that. We've all heard this. And then everything changed. That is that pattern of whole notes all the way up. You never really hear it in a melody. You only hear it in a retrospective. But retrospectively speaking, the dark times of this bull run was after that first little top, 70K, in the summer bummer for 8 goddamn months. It was long, remember? And then it admits that we had Fish Foo Fish. Is that from The Wizard of Oz? No. Well, they probably used it when they were like going back to Kansas, clicking the shoes, click, 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 click. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Yeah, probably was. They use it for everything. The Japan carry trade of August, which was also a paradigm shift for me as an investor, because I remember how the sky was falling that day. We've talked about this before. And then I went to the tennis courts of Victoria Beach, and no one knew. Not one person. Just to think, Their whole lights, to me, it was like a financial nuclear bomb went off. And I went to the tennis courts. Oh my God. Everybody, have you heard the Japan carry trade? And everyone's like, what are you talking about? What the hell is a Japan carry trade? No one knew. No one cared. And it didn't affect anyone's life. So the moral of the story is, as dark as it gets in these crypto winters, not that we're in one, but when we do get there, no one really knows outside of the numbers in your head. The numbers in your head, basically the expectation of, or the not meeting the expectations in your head, those are what cause the, uneasiness of being in this market and watching the price go up and down ad nauseum. Take a look at the ding dong. So we talked about this head and shoulders pattern yesterday. We got a nice bounce. I mean, in order for this, I wouldn't even say, let's say we got a bullish engulfing candle, which is a candle that the open and close engulfs the last bearish column. So we would have to basically close this candle, today's candle, at 104.8 to lock in a bullish engulfing candle. Now, it doesn't mean it's over, because we've seen up, down forever, especially when we come to this channel of eternal monotony's resistance at 104. 104 has been major support and resistance save for this 2 week of bullishness. And so if we do get that bullish engulfing candle, it's a nice signal, but it's not signal enough to negate this head and shoulders pattern. I would argue you'd have to be over the 20 moving average at 106.5 to really start thinking that the head and shoulders didn't play out. Until then, she's on the board. But, these are just probabilities. Nothing in technical analysis is a guarantee. Nothing in the financial system is a guarantee. That thumbnail is indicative of what I think going on now. I've always thought about the political sphere as Moonvember. That's right. Moonvember must be late to the game right here. I always thought of political sphere as Kabuki theater. I've said that many times, many videos, but it's pretty wild to see what's playing out right now. It's like classic. If you're a child of the 80s, like myself, WWF, it was called, World Wrestling Federation, before they were sued by World, what was it? It was like a nature show. Wide World of, I don't know, can't remember what it was, but they were sued and they had to change. That's why they changed it to WWE. If you grew up in the 80s in the WWF, you saw this all the time. The best friends, the tag team partners would all of a sudden become enemies, and it would renew a certain excitement into the wrestling show, sell more tickets, get more asses in the seats, more eyes on the TV. And then, of course, there was the resolution where they would just shake hands and I can't do it. Just shake hands. I can't do it. And then they would. And everyone would be so happy and life would go on. Now, is there a chance that this Kabuki theater is real? Yeah, of course. There's always a chance. And if it is real, just think about how effed up our world is if it is real. That these major powers could be airing their dirty laundry on X, no less. Well, what else are they going to do, right? Normally, this would have been done in the dark halls of the White House and the Senate and the House and whatnot. But now we get to see it real time, right in front of our eyes, right on X. That's why I think It's not real. Black hat. Fun fact. The WWF started lit as the WWF. I did not know that. Does anybody remember what the WWF was that sued WWF? Worldwide. What is the F? Anyway, it was a Nature Channel. We used to watch it on Sunday all the time. Anyway, will this affect the markets? I don't know. I'm still incubating the why of this big fight. World Wildlife Foundation, the backup kid. That's right. World Wildlife Fund. Yep, that's right. Close enough. One of those two. We'll accept both. I'm incubating the thought of whether it's how much Kabuki theater it is, how much true it is, what's the reason for it, why would they make this? Is this where the state of, is this what a failing empire looks like, where we see these type of things happening? Let's go over, seeing as though it's Friday, what I'd like to see for this candle close. Elon Musk's heel turn, yeah. Well, I actually think it might be Trump's. I know most people think Trump's the heel, has been the heel, but I think he will probably look worse after this, because we're talking about, as non-political as Trump is, he's more political than Elon Musk. Elon Musk is Donald Trump as a businessman, maybe magnitude 2. So he's more stuck in, I don't know if he's stuck in reality, because he has so many bursaries and so many incentives from the government. So it's almost like he's like a beautiful girl. He lives in a false economic paradigm. These super plus models on Instagram that say, all you have to do is imagine that, good things will come to you. And guess what? Good things do come to you. Like, yeah, when you're a supermodel, good things come to you all day long. When you're a normal person, you got to work for these good things. Anyway, with all the incentives that he got for the DEI BS, he's almost like a supermodel in a false economic Instagram paradigm. Anyway, you can see how we actually broke down from 23.6. We didn't quite hit the 38.2% fib, not yet. At 98.6. How far did we get away from there? It's pretty close. Let's see. Wick to there. 1.7%. We're a little under 2% before hitting. That's okay with me. I like that. As long as we are kind of in the vicinity of the 38.2% fib, that's a nice little bounce for me. Now the close green, which I don't really expect actually after 7 green weekly candles. Now to close green, we'd have to close above 1.5.7. 105.7. Not the biggest deal. It would be nice to see this great little wick here. Although that which once wicked will get candlesticked. So maybe we do have to, this would make sense if you follow me through this. Close red this week, have more of a dump next week. Really, we're in the summer, bummer. Nothing really happening. And then close the candle, God forbid, around 100K. And at this channel of Ascension's support. Wow. Today's going to be interesting, whether I'm going to be able to pull off the live piano bar. Because I've been kind of resting the old voice all week, and it hasn't gotten better, even from Vegas. Vegas really destroyed my voice, essentially, because there's a lot of talking and dry air, and it still hasn't come back. So we'll have to see. You'll know whether, if you tune in, you'll know whether I'm actively singing or not by the way we start. If we start with sound check, then I'm giving it a shot. If we open up and Kyle sings, that means Kyle is probably going to sing the whole show, which I think would be an interesting take for especially viewers online. You know what? All Kyle all night. And that will be to maybe give myself a full reset. You know, I did some singing all week and I can get there, but it doesn't feel healthy. Like it. And the part about singing unhealthy is that you find different routes to notes, if this makes sense. There's a healthy way to get to a note. And then when you're vocally fatigued, there's cheats. But each cheat spends a lot of money getting there. And you go vocally bankrupt eventually hitting those notes. And I think that's what happened as the voice kind of compounded. I found all these cheats. You know, it's not really real voice. It's a mix of head voice and all this kind of vocal jargon that no one really understands. But what I'm saying is that you find cheats around, but those cheats are circumventing the way. So for instance, it's like this. Let's say you have a blister on your foot. So you still need to get to where you're going. So you start walking differently, right? And you're not putting pressure on that, but there's still a economy of movement. So if you're not putting pressure on this, someone's absorbing other pressure that they don't usually absorb. Maybe your hip or something, right? Putting unwanted pressure on the hip. And then when the blister goes away and you start walking, well, now you kind of have a hip problem because you've used all these muscles that you didn't usually use for walking. Long story short, when you're cheating vocaling, you're using a lot of neck muscles that you don't normally use. They get tired, it compounds, and next thing you know, your wallet that contains all the currency to sing is gone. And maybe that is a 100% reset. I don't know. Maybe it's something worse. We won't go there, but you never know, because it has been a long time. I've been complaining about this for a while, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully, I'll rest all day, not really talk too much. Yeah, zero break for his voice. One guy singing 2.5 hours straight. That's savage. Yeah. Well, there's a little bit of talking involved, but he can do it. He can do it. He's done it before. When he plays with Trevor, which isn't really live streamed, he does basically 2.5 hours. Anyway, that's it. Have a great weekend. Make sure you like and subscribe and share this video.